Hello students, how are you all? I hope so you all are good. So I'm back with part 4 of Act 1 Scene 2 The Tempest by William Shakespeare. And I hope so whatever you have studied in part 3 it was clear to each one of you. So it is part 4 and we are moving on to this scene once again, right? So where do we have to start from? We'll be starting with line number 165 as you can see on the screen. These lines are of Prospero. So just before this line, what did Miranda speak? Let's understand it so that you could be able to understand it well. So Prospero was telling a story of his past to his daughter Miranda, and then Miranda asked a very beautiful question that wherefore did they not that hour destroy us? So this was the question of Miranda. So it means why didn't they just kill us that night? Right? So and then Prospero says, let's understand. Well, demanded wench, my tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not, so dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colours fairer painted their foul ends. In few they hurried us aboard a bark, bore some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a bird, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast, the very rat instinctively have quitted. There they host us to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds whose pity sang back again, did us but loving wrong. So Prospero says that very wise question. Good question, my girl. My story does raise that question. My story provokes that question. My dear, they dared not to kill us because my people loved me very much. Our enemies didn't have the courage openly to accomplish a bloody enterprise by killing us. On the contrary, they concealed their evil goals, purposes behind picture under an attractive appearance. In short, they quickly put us on boat and took us several miles away over the sea. Over there, they had prepared a rotten shell of a boat that had no ropes, equipment, sails, or a mast. Even the rats had abandoned it when they sensed its likelihood to sink. They lowered us down into the water. We were left to cry out to the sea, which just roared back at us. We sighed in sadness to the wind, we sighed back in pity. Thus, whatever harm the ocean did to us was uncomfortable for us, was out of love for us. So, Prospero is now telling what really happened. Right, so they were left on such a boat which was left by rats because they sensed that it will sink. So, it was such a awful boat, right? And Prospero says that why didn't they kill us? Because they hadn't courage to kill us openly. Why? Because our subjects, our honest people, were fond of us, that they hadn't courage dare to kill us in openly, right? So what did they do? They just concealed their evil plans, conspiracy behind the picture under an attractive appearance, right? And then they acted very quickly, instantly. So they just put us on boat and they took us several miles away over the sea, and we were left on such a boat where there was no ropes, equipment, sails, or a mast. Nothing was there on the boat, right? So, Miranda, alack, what trouble was I then to you? So, Miranda says, God, what trouble I must have been to you then. Miranda is realizing actually we were banished from Milan, so my father must have been very bothered, worried, exasperated, and I was there as a trouble for my father at the time. So that's why Miranda is just realizing, is showing her concern that Oh God, what trouble I must have been for you then, Prospero. Prospero, O cherubim, thou wast that did preserve me, thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burden groan, which raised in me, and undergoing a stomach to bear up against what should ensue. So, Prospero says, no, my dear, it is not like that. You were a little angel who kept me going, who kept me alive. You smiled with a strength you must have got from heaven, while I cried salty tears into the salty sea and groaned at our situation. Your smile gave me the courage to face whatever was going to come. Prospero is just justifying what Miranda has said. Miranda said, "Oh God, I was like a trouble for you at the time." Then Prospero said, "No, my dear, it is not like that. You were like a little angel for me who kept me alive. Only you were there who were giving me strength, who were giving me hope of survival, right? So you smile with a strength you must have got from heaven. And while I was crying salty tears into the salty sea, and I was crying at our situation, your smile gave me the courage to face whatever was going to come." Prospero it is saying that you were not trouble, rather you were my strength, right? Miranda, how come we assure? Again, question crops up in the minds of Miranda, and Miranda asks, "How did we land here?" So, see, Miranda is very innocent girl. Again and again, she's asking question. So again, she has asked the question that how did we land here? How did we arrive at this island? How did we reach on this island? Prospero, by providence divine, some food we had and some fresh water, that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us with rich garments, linen, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have stated much so of his gentleness. Knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom. Prospero says, with the help of God, by the God's grace, we landed in this island. We had a little food, fresh water that a noble man from Naples, Gonzalo, had given us out of the kindness of his heart. Gonzalo had been put in charge of the task of abandoning us at sea. So he had been made in charge of taking us out of Milan and living in a boat. He was king's employee. He had to obey his king because he's royal to his king. But at the same time, he was a good person, a person of good soul. He had pity, compassion for Prospero and Miranda. So he helped us by providing food, water, and other necessities. He also gave us clothes, linen, and other necessities that have been of immense help. Knowing how much I loved my books, he also gave me some books from my library that I value more than my dukedom. Prospero says all this to Miranda that we were helped by a nobleman Gonzalo from Naples. Miranda, would I might but ever see that man? Oh, Miranda is just expressing her desire that I wish I could see that man someday. Miranda is quite, fascinated to this man, Gonzalo, because Prospero has told her about Gonzalo that this man was of immense help at the time when we were banished from Milan. So this man helped us out in providing basic necessities, and it made our survival easy in the sea. Then Miranda got fascinated, and Miranda expressed her desire that I wish I could see that man someday. Then Prospero is saying, now I arise, sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princes can that have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful. So Prospero says, now I must get up. Prospero was sitting and telling a story to Miranda. Now Prospero said that now I must get up. I must rise up. Then Prospero stands and puts on his magic cloak. You sit quiet and listen to my story, how our sufferings on the sea ended. We arrived here on this island where I, acting as your teacher, have given you a better education than most princes get, princes who have less careful tutor who spend time more foolishly. Prospero says that now I must get up. You please listen to my whole story, and you need to know that how our suffering got ended up here on this island. We landed on this island where I was acting your teacher, and I have given you a better education, good education than most princesses get. Princesses who have less careful tutors, princesses who spend more time foolishly on empty fun. But I was acting like a teacher for you, and I was just educating you. I was providing you a better education on this island. So you need to know the entire story that what we have been through, right, and how our sufferings pain got ended up on this island. So you need to listen to the story, right? Miranda, heavens thank you for it, and now I pray you, sir, for it still it is beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm. Again Miranda says, may God thank you for it. And now, Father, I request you to tell me why you caused this storm to blow on the sea. This question keeps popping up in my mind. So again, question is cropping up in Miranda's mind. She is not able to understand still that why Prospero created tempest in the sea. So then she asked again Prospero that I humbly request you to reveal me that why did you create tempest in the sea. This question is popping up in my mind. This question is still troubling my mind. Prospero, know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune. Now, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore, and by my presence I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star whose influence, if now I could not but omit, my fortunes will never after droop. Here sees more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose to Ariel. Come away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach my Ariel, come. Prospero says, okay, if you ask me that why I had created tempest in the sea, now listen to me very attentively and carefully. I am going to tell you something more. By an astonishing accident, generous fate, who is now favorable to me, has brought my enemies to this island. It was my generous fate, it was my good destiny that brought all my enemies to this island. And by my magic senses, I can tell that my opportunity for good fortune depends on these lucky circumstances. And if I do not act but instead do nothing, then I will never again have such an opportunity. No more question now. You are sleepy. It's a good time for sleep. I know you have no choice but to fall asleep. Prospero says that this was a very beautiful opportunity for me. That means I thought that I could have a revenge on all my conspirators because they were passing through this path, right? And so I just grabbed this chance, and this good opportunity, this good luck, destiny brought all my enemies to this island. And this was a very beautiful chance for me. That means it was beautiful opportunity for me to take revenge on all my evil doers, on all the conspirators. So that's why this brought all the enemies on this island. And in this way, it was a very beautiful time that I just could have just taken revenge on all the conspirators. So having said so, Prospero says, you are sleepy now. It's a good time for sleep, so I know you have no choice but to fall asleep. Then Miranda sleeps. Prospero is now addressing to Ariel. Come along, my servant, I am ready now. Come, I am waiting for you. Then Ariel enters. Ariel, all hail, great master, grave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure. Be to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task, Ariel, and all his quality. Ariel says, my greetings to you, great master, noble, reverend sir, I greet you. I am here to carry out whatever you are pleased to command, whether it is to fly, to swim, to plunge into the fire, to ride upon the clouds. Employ Ariel and all his fellow spirits in any task you please. Ariel is just expresses his desire of doing the tasks whatever he is given by Prospero. Ariel says that I am here to do what you ask me to do, whether it is to fly, to swim, to jump into the fire, to ride upon the cloud. So I am here, and you can just employ me and all my fellow spirits in any task you please. Then Prospero, hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempe that I bade thee? Prospero says, Spirit, did you carry out the storm just as I ordered? Prospero is ensuring that whether Ariel has done the task in the same manner what I asked him to do. So Prospero is saying, Spirit, now first of all you need to tell me, did you carry out the storm just as I ordered? Ariel, to every article I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the way the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometime I would divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards and bowsprit would I flame distinctly, then meet and join Jove's lightning, the precursors, or the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and side outrunning, were not the fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring. The most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble, yeah, his dread trident shake. Ariel says Ariel says, yes, I have done in the same manner you have asked me to do. So down to the last detail, I tell you each and everything how I have done everything. So down to the last detail, I boarded the king's ship. First of all, I boarded the king's ship. I entered the king's ship, and from the deck to the middle of the ship, to the stern, and in every cabin, what did I do? First of all, I took the form of a flame, I took the form of a fire, and sent everyone into a terror. I took the form of a fire and then I terrified everybody. I chilled everyone to the marrow. It right? So it created fear, horror in the heart of everybody. Sometimes I would divide myself and burn at many places at once. I burned on the mainmast, the yards extending from the mast, and at the same time split to burn bowsprit extending from the deck. Then I joined back together to form a single flame. So this was the way Ariel just did the task of Prospero. Ariel took the form of a flame fire on the ship, and this made everybody terrified. This left everyone into a terror. So Ariel is just giving the entire details that how it was done by him. So, and then Ariel says, not even Jove's lightning. Jove's here means Jupiter. He says, not even Jupiter's lightning, which precedes and then causes thunder, could move as fast as I did. So Ariel means to say that. He was much more faster than thunder and lightning of the Jupiter. The fire and deafening cracks of my burning seemed to terrify even mighty Neptune, the god of the sea, and made his waves tremble and his weapon, the trident, shake. So Neptune's trident started shaking. So it is mythology like Indian mythology. We have sea god Varun Dev, so he is called Neptune in other mythologies, right? So Ariel has created illusion only. It did not happen genuinely. It is only the illusion what has been created by Ariel, right? So he created fear in the heart of everybody, and even trident of Neptune started shaking, right? So then Prospero says, my brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect his reason. So Prospero says, my splendid spirit was everyone on the ship, so strong and steady that the uproar of this storm did not make him crazy. So Ariel first of all appreciates the way Ariel did the task. Prospero says, good spirit, who could never be so steady and strong that disturbance like that wouldn't make him crazy. So my splendid spirit, was anyone on the ship so strong and steady that the uproar of this storm didn't make him crazy? Right? So Ariel, not a soul but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged into foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then all afire with me, the king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring. Then like reeds not hair was the man that leaped, cried, hell is empty and all the devils are here. So Ariel says, every man on the ship, every person on the ship was like a madman, and they were doing desperate things, they were doing crazy things. Everyone except the sailor jumped into the rough sea to escape the ship that I had set on fire. The king's son Ferdinand, with his hair standing straight up, looking like reeds instead of hair, was the first one who jumped, shouting, hell is empty and all the devils are here. Ariel has created illusion as if the whole ship is burning. Along with Ariel, everyone abandoned the ship instantly. So Ariel is speaking that everybody was mad on the ship, and they were just moving around here and there, and they were doing desperate and crazy things. Everyone except the mariners jumped into the sea, so everyone abandoned the ship instantly, immediately. And Ferdinand, the king's son, with his hair is standing straight up, looking like reeds. So the hairs of Ferdinand was looking like reeds, right, instead of hair. So he was the first one who jumped, and when he was jumping, he was shouting that hell is empty and all the devils are here. So the scene was quite very horrible, and it was frightening everybody, because the ship was burning. It was illusion created by Ariel. So everybody thought that the ship is burning, and even Ariel was burning right at the time. So everybody abandoned the ship and they jumped out of the ship, right? Prospero. Why, that's my spirit, but was not this nice shore? So Prospero says, well done, my spirit, but did you not arrange matters in such a way that those who jumped into the sea should find themselves close to the shore, so as to be able to swim to it and save their lives? This is the prime concern of Prospero. Being a good man, he does not want to harm anyone. No harm should come to anyone. So Prospero is ensuring again and again the safety of all the conspirators, the safety of everybody. So Prospero is ensuring that when you had burnt the ship, so you have arranged matter in such a way that they were able to jump out of sea comfortably, and they were means were they close to the sea, so that they could be able to save their lives. So this is the prime concern of Prospero. Prospero wants that no harm should come to anyone, right? Then Ariel says, close by, my master, close by the shore, my master. I left them quite near the shore, my master. And then Prospero again speaks, but are they, Ariel, safe? Prospero asks, but are they all safe, Ariel? So again Prospero is ensuring safety of all the conspirators, of everybody. So see the good quality of Prospero. Prospero is such a gentleman that he wants betterment of all the conspirators. He has a right time to do whatever he can do with all the conspirators, but he is not going out of limit. Rather, he wants to have a sweet revenge on the conspirators. He doesn't want to harm anyone. Rather, he wants to take a sweet revenge on all the conspirators, right? So that's why again and again Prospero is ensuring safety of everybody, that they are safe and not Ariel, they are safe and not Ariel. Not a hair perished on their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before, as thou bad at me. In troops I have dispersed them about the island. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs in an odd angle of the island, and sitting his arms in this sad knot. Ariel says, not even a hair was harmed on anyone's head. No one has been harmed, right? Even the clothes do not have any spot, any stain. Rather, they are fresher than before. Not even a hair was harmed on anyone's head. The clothes that helped keep them afloat in the water, right? Not right. So the clothes are looking fresher than before. The clothes are not stained, but are in fact cleaner than they were before the storm. And as you told me to do, I have scattered everybody from the ship in a few different groups around the island. I have dispersed everybody from the ship in a few different groups around the island. I brought the king's son all by himself to the land and far corner of the island. He is sitting over there with his arms crossed like this in sadness and cooling the air with his sigh. So Ariel dispersed everybody into different groups on an island, and Ariel just separated Ferdinand alone from everybody. Means Ferdinand is in isolation. Ferdinand uh, Ferdinand is not in company of anyone. So Ferdinand is just sitting alone with arms crossed, and he seems to be in a sad mood, right? So Ferdinand is able to believe that the ship has wrecked and everybody has died, right? Ferdinand is of the opinion that only he is the survivor and others have perished. So he is in a sad state, he is in a sad mood. So Prospero. Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest o the fleet. Prospero again asks something, that tell me what you did with the king's ship, the sailors and the other ships. Tell me what you did with the king's ship, the sailor, and all of the other ships in the king's fleet. So remember one thing, king's ship doesn't go alone anywhere. Several ships come behind the king's ship. So that's why Prospero is just concerned about the other ships of the king Alonso. So Prospero is asking that, tell me, the other ships are safe or not? Where are they? Ariel, safely in harbor is the king's ship in the deep nook where once thou callest me at midnight to fetch dew. From the still vexed Bermuths, there she hid. The mariners all under hashes stood, who with a charm joined to their suffered labor, I have left asleep, and for the rest to the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again, and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perish. Ariel says, the king's ship is safely harbored and hidden in that deep cave where you once called me at midnight to get dew from the stormy Bermuda Island. Ariel says, the king's ship is safe. The king's ship is alright. Where? In the harbor. And it is hidden in that deep cave where you once called me to get dew from the stormy Bermuda Islands. The sailors are all below deck. They are sleeping, they are asleep, both because of a spell I put them under, and also because of the tiredness, exhaustion they are from all their efforts during the storm. As for the rest of the fleet, as for the rest of the other ships, I dispersed them. They have all gathered in the Mediterranean Sea and are now sailing sadly home to Naples, believing that they saw the shipwreck of the king's ship and therefore the death of their great king. They are going back to Naples sadly. They are of the opinion that King Alonso is dead now. The King Alonso's ship has devastated in the sea, right? So they all are of the opinion that now the king is dead. So they are very, sad. They are very disappointed. They are grievous stricken. They are feeling blue. So they all are going back to Naples, believing that the king is dead, right? So again, it is an illusion, because king's ship is safe and where? In the harbor. As Ariel has spoken, right? So it is just an illusion created by Ariel, right? Then Prospero, Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there is more work. What is the time on the day, right? So Prospero is very happy with the way Ariel has done the task, and Prospero is asking, and Prospero is saying that you have done your work exactly as I ordered. So Prospero is quite impressed and very happy, but there is more work to be done. What time is it? So Prospero is again says that now our entire work is not done. We are not done with our entire work. There is more to do, but there is more work to be done. So what time is it? Ariel, past the mid season. Ariel says it is past midday, past noon, 12 p.m., 12 o'clock. Prospero, at least 2 glasses, the time twixt 6, and now must buy us both the spend most preciously. Prospero says at least 2 hours passed. We cannot waste time between now and 6 o'clock. Right. So actually, at least 2 hours passed. Prospero says that. So 2 hours passed means the glass here means sandy hourglass, right? So when when sandy hour glass is kept upside down, so when all the sand comes down, so it means 1 hour has passed. So one glass is 1 hour. So here two glass, that means 2 hours. So at least 2 hours passed, and Prospero says we cannot waste time between now and 6 o'clock. Prospero, Ariel, is there more toil? Since those give me pains, let me remember thee, what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me. So Ariel is very surprised and flabbergasted. Ariel is bewildered to hear that there is more work to do. So Ariel is again ensuring, is there more work to do? Since you are giving me new course, let me remind you what you promised me, but haven't yet actually been done for me. So Ariel thought he will be freed, he will be given freedom from Prospero because he has done his task. But Prospero says that we have more work to do. So it blew Ariel away. It took Ariel aback. It flabbergasted Ariel. So Ariel is in surprise that, oh, there is more work to do. Prospero, how now, Moody, what thou canst demand? So Prospero says that, what you are feeling moody? What is it that you would demand from me? So Ariel is just asking for freedom. Ariel thought he will be freed. So that's why Prospero said that, what are you talking about? You are feeling moody. What is it that you would demand from me? So Ariel, my liberty. Ariel says, my liberty. I want my freedom. So Ariel is throwing tantrums. Ariel is becoming moody. Ariel says, I want my freedom. Prospero, before the time be out, no more. Prospero says, I had given you certain time. Before that, how can I free you? How can I give you freedom? I have ample work to do. So we have to work, right? Before the time of our deal is up, stop right here. When time will be coming, I will be freeing you. I will be giving you freedom, but not now. The time hasn't come. Ariel, I prithee remember, I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made no mistakings, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year. Ariel says, I request you please to remember that I have served you wholeheartedly. I have told you no lies, made no mistakes, and served you uncomplainingly. I haven't showed any grievances, any grudges, any complaints. So without all this, I have been able to serve you with great honest, with great desire. Wholeheartedly, I have done all your work. You promised to shorten my to uh, time to service you by a full year. You promised to cut out a year of my service. Prospero. Those thou forget from what a torment I did free thee. So Prospero is becoming angry, and Prospero says that those thou forget from what a torment I did free thee. Prospero says, have you forgotten the torture I freed you from? Prospero reminds him of the torture what Ariel has suffered, right? So Ariel say, no, I did not forget it. I remember that. Prospero, thou does and thinks it must to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost. Prospero said, do you think these are all difficult tasks you have forgotten, and you think it is too much effort when I ask you to walk through the ocean, run on the cold north wind, and do work for me under the surface of the earth when the ground is frozen solid? So do you think that all these things are difficult to do? So Prospero is just talking very harshly, angrily. So at this point of time, Prospero must not be angry at Ariel. Why? Because Ariel has been performing everything for Prospero for a long time, right? But he is a master. He has a right to be angry. He has a right to shower all his wrath over Ariel. So that's why Prospero is becoming very angry. Prospero is very harsh on Ariel and says that don't forget that I have freed you from the torture, and don't think that the work which I ask you to do is difficult, right? So it is not difficult. Is it difficult to do, Ariel? No, sir. I do not, sir. So Ariel says, no, sir. I'm not saying like that it is difficult to do. No, it is not difficult to do. No, I don't, sir. Prospero, thou least malignant thing, hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, with who with age envy was grown into a hoop, hast thou forgot her? Prospero, again harsh and rude. You lie, you nasty and grateful thing. Have you forgotten the horrid witch Sycorax, who was so old and filled with anger that she was so stooped over? Right? So have you forgotten her, Ariel? No, sir, no, sir. So Ariel is again. So Ariel is saying in yes, yes. So Ariel is showing. Ariel is showing only approval. Ariel cannot go against Prospero, right? So Ariel is saying again, no, sir, I remember. I haven't forgotten that. Prospero, thou hast, where was she born? Speak, tell me. Prospero, it seems you have forgotten. It seems, no, you don't remember it. It seems you have forgotten it. Where was she born? Tell me, Ariel. Sir, in Algiers. He says, sir, she was born in Algiers. Prospero, oh, was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast been. With thou forgest this damn witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible, to enter human hearing from Algiers. Thou knowest was banished for one thing she did. They would not take her life. Is not this true? So Prospero is saying, oh, you do not remember that. I must remind you of all that. You seem to have forgotten everything. Now I must reveal you that once again. I must tell you once in the course of every month what you plight, what your condition used to be, because you tend to forget it. Oh, was she really? I will have to tell the story again every month since you seem to forget it. This damn with Psycho was this damn with Psycho was right. So actually Prospero is saying that Prospero is of the opinion that Ariel has forgotten his past when he was freed by Prospero, right? So that's why Ariel is saying that now I must reveal you all that once again, right? You know that wicked witch Sycorax was banished from Algiers for doing many kinds of mischief and for performing act of black magic which were too dreadful for human ears. It was decided by the authorities not to sentence her to death because of one good deed which she had done. Is that not true? So Prospero is ensuring that Sycorax was not killed. Rather, Sycorax was only banished from Algiers, and most of the time, specifically, witches are burnt. But Sycorax was not burnt. It may be because of one good deed she might have done at the time, right? So because of the thankfulness, Sycorax was not killed, burnt. Rather, she was only banished from Algiers. So Prospero is asking to Ariel that is not that true? Ariel, yes sir. Yes sir, it is very true. Prospero. This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou repose thyself, wast then her servant, and for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and abhorred commands, refusing her grand haste, she did confine thee by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage into a cloven pine within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain a dozen years, within which space she died and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans. As far as mill wheels strike, then was the island, save for the sun that she did litter here, a freckled whelp hag-born, not honored with a human shape. Here, all the painful memories are brought before Ariel, right? So Ariel is just facing his past one more time when Ariel demanded his freedom from Prospero. So Prospero is making him remember all that what has passed. So all the painful memories, miserable memories are brought before Ariel. So Prospero says, the sunken-eyed hag. Sycorax had blue eyes, so that's why Prospero says the blue-eyed hag was brought here pregnant and left by the mariners, sailors. Sailors abandoned Sycorax here on the island, and she was pregnant at the time. You, my slave, were her servant at that time, as you admit yourself, right? You were too sensitive, delicate to carry out her horrible orders, and you denied that, and you refused that. In a fit of rage, in a fit of anger, in a fit of wrath, she locked you up in a hollow pine tree with the help of her power assistants and left you there for 12 years. You were locked in a pine tree for 12 years. During that time, she died, and you were trapped, moaning, groaning, as fast as the blade of a mill wheel strike the water. So when Sycorax locked you in a pine tree, so before she could remove her magic spell, she died. right? So at that time there were no people here on this island. This island was not honored with a human being except for the son that Sycorax gave birth to here, a freckled baby born of a old hag, right? So Prospero is just revealing everything what has passed in the past, and all the pathetic, painful memories are brought before Ariel. That you please don't forget that I was means I have just done a great favor for you. When you were locked in a pine tree, you were crying, moaning, groaning, right? So your condition was very pathetic, your condition was very miserable, it was really painful, and I relieved you from your miserable condition what you had before. So you were locked, I freed you from the pine tree. So you seem to have forgotten all that. So it is students, that's it for today. We will be covering up rest of the story in part 5. Okay, so I hope so it is clear to each one of you. So you need to keep revising it again and again frequently. Wherever you are not able to understand anything, just rewind and pause and then just watch the video, right? So we will be covering up rest of the story in part 5. Come back again, and I request you all to subscribe my YouTube channel. In this way I will get encouraged, motivated for more such videos, right? So don't forget to subscribe my channel. It is my humble request to all the viewers, to all the students, please subscribe my channel. Take care of yourself.